Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Dragon Quest. We are close to the end, friends. Only a few episodes left, but to start things off, let's go into that secondary function we discussed last time that the Princess's Pledge has that you can only see if you're using it on the overworld map. So, when you use it on the world map, you'll actually get some coordinates that use Castle Tantagle as your 0, point, and then it'll tell you what your coordinates are in relation to that in terms of, like, step count. Which is not that useful in terms of finding your way, just because by the point you actually get it in the game, you're likely to have already explored the majority of the overworld map, and you kind of have a sense of direction already and where things are in relation to one another. Indeed, we are nearing the end of the game, and we only have so much world map left to really uncover, so chances of getting lost or kind of not sure where to go or how to get back to the castle are getting a little slim here. But, you know, it does have its own use that we will see a little later on. There's one item that you're going to need those coordinates for to get, so you're definitely going to want to rescue the princess and get the princess's pledge. And also, it's just the right thing to do, goddammit. Go save the princess. What's wrong with you? This Tearwolf is hitting us pretty hard, or is it Tearwolf? But, yeah, we're also reaching a point in the game where we're going to start to see a lot of palette swaps and reskins of former enemies that are just more powerful and have more attacks and stuff like that. So, you know, that's kind of to be expected from a game that's of this age. But, you know, even nowadays with art assets being so hard to make and, you know, our standards for visual fidelity are more straining than ever on development teams. You know, it's still, to this day, you'll still see a lot of games that go the palette swap route for late game enemies, and, you know, you kind of want to see some variation all the way up to the end, but that's not always possible considering game development cycles and how strenuous that is. You know, you always hear developers say that it's a miracle that any game is even playable and, like, actually gets released in a playable state. We got the Zoom spell. We can now video call with our friends. But, yeah, as I was saying, you know, I've kind of, as I've gotten a little bit older, I think I've become a little less critical of things like palette-swapped enemies late game in the JRPGs I play. That used to be something that really bothered me when I was younger, like, oh, they're so lazy. But, you know, the reality is there's only so much time that you have when you're making games like this, and you can't always get artists to make unique art assets for every single enemy that they want to include in terms of game design. So, you know, I'm willing to look past that a little bit more within reason. You know, obviously sometimes it still is a problem that hampers my opinion of certain games, but I at least am more understanding of the circumstances that lead developers to want to reskin enemies, or in cases like this, literally just reuse a boss as a random encounter. So yeah, we can now encounter green dragons just randomly on the map. Do not worry, they still pack a punch, but they are not anywhere near the same level of terrible that they are in that cave guarding the princess. I think it's funny that dragon, even though I believe the dragon that acts as a boss fight technically has more HP than these random encounter ones. At least I think so. I think it's really funny that one wasn't unique or didn't have like a special name. Like you just run into these on the open world and they're the same green dragon as the one in the cave, at least in terms of looks and naming and all that. It's pretty funny. Yeah, that was a lot faster, and we're only one level better compared to when we were last time. So yeah, that definitely have less HP. That's a real good oh shit moment though. Just, oh god, I just went through hell fighting that dragon in that cave. Then you're walking around on another part of the map. It's like, oh god, there's a whole species of them. Alright, speaking of boss fights, get ready for our next boss, the Golem. This is a weird one, because you may remember that we got a little hint here. If we play the beautiful fairy flute song, the Golem will actually fall asleep. That was something that we were told from an NPC earlier on in the game. But it's just kind of awkward, in my opinion, because it only works on this Golem, and we've already run into other types of golem at this point. At least we've run into gold golems and maybe another kind that I'm not remembering. I think maybe just the gold golem, but you get that hint, and then you try it on gold golems, and it doesn't work, and it's like, well, what the fuck's the fairy flute good for? And then you get to this boss fight, and you're like, oh, this is what I want to use it for. Yeah. Speaking of enemy variation, I actually kind of wish that maybe instead of a gold golem, they had done a different type of gold enemy. Just to, you know, I think that would have been better design-wise, because then you don't really confuse the player in terms of what the fairy flute is really used for. But, you know, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to put 2 and 2 together, especially because this guy hits like a truck. Thankfully, you can infinitely use that fairy flute to just keep putting him to sleep, and you're going to want to, because, yeah, this guy does a shit ton of damage with his physical attacks, and you're not going to want to, go any amount of turns taking damage from this guy, because it's just not sustainable for you. You're gonna eat shit pretty fast. Unfortunately, he also has a tendency to wake up fairly fast. I feel like in previous playthroughs, he didn't wake up this much, at least when my memories of the Game Boy Color and Super Famicom versions, I feel like I had better luck with the golem staying asleep for longer periods of time, but I don't know, maybe I just got bad luck this time around, or maybe I'm just imagining version differences that don't actually exist, but this was a little bit of a pain, at least more of a pain than I remember it, and, you know, that's also another thing to consider. You know, you're a little younger, and maybe you're a little more patient in some ways when dealing with repetitive tasks. I feel like that's something I hear a lot. The older you get, the less tolerant you become to repetition. So maybe I just am viewing with the Kid Rosin nostalgia glasses that this fight wasn't always this long, but maybe it actually always has been, and I'm just overthinking things or misremembering. You know, with you having to play this song so many times, you'd also kind of wish that maybe you could skip it, or maybe there was some variation, like they had a couple different fairy flute songs that I could play. That'd be fun. Though my completionist streak in me would maybe also hate that, because I'd want to show off every fairy flute song then if there was variants. But yeah, we get a shit ton of experience points from that, though. Holy shit. Level 14. We are almost halfway to the level cap. Level cap is 30 in this game, but we are going to beat the game far before we ever get anything close to that. You really don't need to get that high up. By the time you're in your early to mid-20s, I want to say you're going to be fine. I think even before that, you can tackle the end game no problem. 30 is... I don't think I've ever played this game and got up to level 30. That's just overkill. Now we get to the last town in the game, Cantlin. And this is where we are going to go to be able to... There's a lot of good stuff here. Well, we'll just have to explore and see, but... You got your standard inns, item shops, weapon shops, armor shops, all the good stuff. Magic key seller here that we have to use a magic key to get to, which kind of defeats the purpose of selling magic keys, but that's a good way to get some more keys. And there's a hidden shop here behind that magic key door. So we can get the Fireblade, which is just a fantastic sword. And you can actually, I believe you can actually use it as a item. Like, you can actually go into your inventory in battle and use it as an item, and it'll cast Sizz, which is pretty cool. That's why it says unlimited uses, I think. See, and it even gives you a hint in the item description. It says it's not only useful when wielded, but you can use it to cast spells for free. It doesn't cost any MP as well, which is cool. Ah, Magog. What a wonderful name. So yeah, that is a hint relating to the destroyed town that we crossed back through earlier. Looks like all the townsfolk from that town ended up taking refuge over here. Though that only gets you so far when your town is being sieged by a giant golem that you can't defeat without a magical fairy flute. Thank God for the power of magical fairy ASMR, or else that golem would have probably destroyed this town too. Get some holy water. Don't exactly remember what that does off the top of my head. Get another stat raisin seed. Always good to increase our stats a little bit. Every little bit counts. They're like your daily vitamins, but more mystical. Yeah, this weird center building is really awkward because you can go into it from so many directions, but there's also a bunch of water, and it's kind of separated in an awkward way, so it's just a little weird compared to the other buildings in this game. We recognize those tiles. Those are damaged tiles if I've ever seen them. And if I recall... Yeah, I get a ways in here, and then I realize I'm out of MP, and I'm not going to have enough MP to heal up when I'm going back. And that's kind of awkward, so I decided to just walk back and heal up at the end so that we could walk over it with no issue. That was very silly of me. Should have rested up at the end first thing going into town here. Talk to this guy. So yeah, hearing a lot about this Magog fellow, who apparently got Erdrick's armor and hid it in his shop that is unfortunately now in that destroyed town. So that sounds like a reason, if any, to go back and explore that place some more. But like I said, there are some scary monsters there that we are going to maybe want to prepare for before we venture forth. And another seed. Unfortunately, that guy's a little bit in the way, so you're going to have to wait for him to kind of go down the end of that hallway before you can get into that cabinet, but... yeah, I could take him. Another item shop. This place is just full of merchants. It's a walled market town. Wall Market. Walmart. Oh my god, that's where the Waltons came from. They're from Dragon Quest Land. Damdara, that's the name of it. Finally got a name for the destroyed town. And everyone is related to... This Magog guy really got around, because he got relatives, or descendants, all over. And they all apparently became shoppers of some kind. Another magic key for free. It's actually kind of nice that they gave that to you, because to get in here you needed to use a magic key. Alright, let's go see what's down here, finally. Taking care to not accidentally die on these tiles. And we're doing it. Slow and steady wins the race. So there we go. That's why we need to know our coordinates. This priest guy who seems trapped over here, actually. I don't know how he gets out. I don't think this frail old man is going to be able to stomach these damaged tiles. Someone should rescue him, but he gave us a little hint regarding what we should, where we can find something that's going to help us out in our journey and is actually mandatory for progression, if I recall. So, good thing to have that Princess's Pledge to help us find our way. Gonna have to go on a little bit of a scavenger hunt on the overworld to make sure we're in the right direction. Is there anything else in town I need to explore, or did I cover everything? I think that's about it. Oh no, all the way up here. This is another bank. Gets its own dedicated second story. Yeah, there's some scary monsters up ahead in that in Damdara, so good time to deposit your cash, just so you don't lose any progress if you die, or at least your money loss isn't as bad as it could be. But yeah, you can see that the overworld map still extends quite a ways, a bit to the south and even more towards the east a little bit. So yeah, I figured before we go to Damdara and try to get that armor that we heard about, maybe we should go check out the spot that the priest highlighted for us. If you've been paying attention to the coordinates thus far, you can kind of get a general idea of where we need to go. It's, again, to the south and to the east a bit from where Cantillon is. And whatever the priest wanted to guide us towards will be waiting for us there. So, of course, that means we're going to follow the shoreline and find ourselves a bridge crossing, which, of course, to recap, crossing the bridge always means more powerful monsters on the other side, so we'll see, we'll see if we can handle them. We're level 14, we're a big boy now, we can do it. I believe in you, Aleph. Yeah, you can see we still got quite a ways to go to the east. You can see there's poison over there too, so that's not good. A new type of chimera. Ooh. Dealing some damage. And it can heal itself. That's not good at all. Surely we could take this thing out. Oh, oof. Yeah. Maybe we're gonna have to not go towards this part of the map for now without leveling up a little bit. Good thing we deposited our money before we went over there. So yeah, once again, we are going to need to resolve our problems with a little bit of grinding. So I will cut to another croc montage right now. So yeah, that exploration attempt was a bit of a bust. Clearly not powerful enough yet to go play around in that area. And also, you couldn't really see from what I had reached before we died, but to the east of where we were before that Chimera took us out, it's just a bunch of poison tiles. So, doesn't seem like a fun place to venture in right now. So Damdara is going to be our next best bet, but as you could see from our little trip there last time around, we are definitely not powerful enough to really play around in there yet either. So we're going to need to grind up and maybe gain a few levels, but more importantly gain some cash so that we can get some better gear for Aleph here. Unfortunately, when you use the zoom spell, you always warp back to the castle. You can't choose which town you warp to, like a lot of modern JRPGs, or even games that came out not too long after this, where, you know, you cast your teleport spell and then it opens up a menu of where you want to go to and whatnot. No, we're going to need to walk back, and I believe I cut real quick here. Yeah, so we're making our way back. I could have cut towards, you know, to our trip all the way back, but I decided to keep in this last stretch of travel here because we ran into an interesting enemy or two that I wanted to show off. I think some of them we didn't run into before, so I know that when we cross this bridge and make our way in a little bit, yeah, there we go, we ran into a metal slime. These are a famous Dragon Quest enemy that you may have seen images of before. It's like the slime, but of course metal. What that means is that its defense is really high, unless you're lucky, like me, and get a crit. And it also has a tendency to run away. And you'll get a shit ton of experience points for killing one of these things, which is cool. But the problem is actually killing them. They have really high evasion, they have really high defense. They are more likely to run away, and the encounter ends that way, than you to actually be lucky enough to actually take them out and get all those experience points. this has kind of become Metal Slime, just like the regular slime, has kind of become a staple of the Dragon Quest series. You're always going to see a Metal Slime hidden somewhere in the overworld of these games, which is always fun. And, they always kind of have the same gimmick. And, other JRPGs have kind of taken that archetype for some of their random encounters. And you can sometimes see enemies like that where they have really high defense, or kind of have these gimmicks where they evade or nullify most types of attacks. But if you manage to find the trick to them, or you manage to take them out through some method, they reward a shit ton of experience points, which is it's kind of always fun, in my opinion, to have those types of enemies. And depending on the game and how, what sort of things the characters have at their disposal, figuring out the best way to actually kill those things and get all those experience points can be a little tricky, and usually it's kind of how hard they are to kill can vary by a game-by-game basis, but it's always a little puzzle somewhere in these games that I like to solve when I come across them. Though if it takes too long, I'll fully admit most of the time I'll just say, fuck it, and either look it up online or just play through the rest of the game and not really care about them. But if I can come up with some ideas or ingenious strategies to kill Metal Slime type enemies in JRPGs, I always like to try them out and play around a bit and try my hand at it. The Fireblade is going to be very helpful. Like I said earlier, this is going to be a weapon that we can use as a item, and it'll actually cast Sizz, which is pretty neat. And it doesn't cost any MP or nothing. Can sell our old sword, because we're not going to need that, obviously. Eventually we're going to want to save up for that cool shield, too, because that's going to be nice, but, don't really have the funds right now. The blade will be enough to get us through for now. Don't know why I kept doubling back there. Maybe I got lost. Not like it's a very complex town layout, minus that very bizarrely designed building in the center like we said before. But yeah, we've seen that the place we're going to play around in is a little dangerous, so decided to deposit my cash again. Don't want to grind all those gold golems again. So yeah, let's play around with this sword. Let's see how powerful we are now. You can see it has the cool red slash now, like that little detail. Yeah, it does some pretty solid damage. I believe it is the second most powerful sword that we are going to be able to grab in the game. Kind of why it costs so much. A lot of grinding, this Let's Play. It's just how this game is. Yeah, you can see even compared to a little bit earlier in this episode when we fought a Hocus Chimera, that went a lot faster. Zoomed all the way back to the castle here. Not exactly sure why I felt like I wasn't ready to yet go to the abandoned town. Maybe I wanted to go back and save real quick just to be extra safe and be able to reload my save in case something went awry. Who knows? Probably a good countermeasure on my part, but may make for a anticlimactic end of Let's Play Dragon Quest Part 7. But Part 8, we're going to go back to that abandoned town. We're going to check out that swamp area that's full of those poison tiles. It's going to be a good time. See you next time for Let's Play Dragon Quest Part 8.